All right, what's going on, guys? I've been getting a lot of questions about, particularly about blitzes, and with the focus on things that Brent Venables is doing and things like that. And we always hear on TV about how defensive coordinators are being really creative with their blitzes. So I wanted to talk about the game within the game, with in a sense. There's always this cat and mouse game going on in the trenches, and sometimes there's too much emphasis placed on quarterbacks and receivers and all that stuff and coverage and whatnot. And sometimes those guys in the trenches don't get their I guess their due appreciation, if you will. So these next two videos I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the trenches, and I really want to talk about blitzes because there's a lot of interesting things that defenses are doing now, particularly in their pressure packages, that are kind of made to counter this this explosion of spread offenses and air raid concepts and things like that. So it's gotten really interesting. Brent Venables is one of the most creative guys about it, and you've seen some of the NFL people begin to steal some of his concepts. And you know how it is. Football coaches, we're all thieves. We steal from each other, and we take something that somebody else did and try to make it better and put our own spin on things. But if we're going to understand blitzes, you got to understand pass protection, because blitzing is all about finding a way to take advantage of rules that offenses have in place to give the quarterback 3 seconds to deliver an accurate ball. Okay. So, you know, blitzes are impossible to talk about if you don't have at least a base understanding of pass pro. A pass pro is not complicated. Okay. Particularly in today's age of football. So, base, just real easy, simple things we got to understand first is the gap system. Okay. So, the space between the center and the guards we refer to as A gap. Between the guard and the tackle is B gap. And outside of the tackle is C gap. Now, if we add more people, so for example, if we throw a tight end here, okay, this area out here would become D gap. Okay. If we add another tight end, we have E gap. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So real simple gap system, which I'll mention before, that we didn't know beforehand. Okay. So when it comes to pass pro, the first thing that defensive coordinators want to know is how many people are actually going to be in the protection. Okay. And what that means is how many people are actually blocking. Okay. So, we could have 5-man protections, 6-man protections. We can go all the way up technically to 9-man protections, although that's probably unheard of. I've never seen that before, but you could. Okay. So there are some guys that have more than one role. Sometimes a guy will be a check releaser, meaning he'll check to see if he needs to stay in protection, then he can leave on a pass route. The quarterback himself even plays a role in pass protection, which in some cases he is responsible for blocking somebody with his eyes and throwing hot. So I'll try to get into all of that stuff. Now, with spread offenses going in the direction that they have, to where we like to play with 4 wides, it really limits their options with what they can do in pass pro. Okay. The less people we have in the box here, the less adjustments that we have as far as calling our protections. And what that means for defenses is it's way easier to get creative. So one of the big weaknesses of spread offenses is how predictable our protections can be. Okay. So to make it really simple, all protections fall under 3 types. Sorry about sneeze, guys. They're either a slide protection, a man or big on big protection, that's the same thing, or they're a combination of the two. Okay. Now, the most common pass protections are what we call combos, where we add in a little bit of slide and big on big protections. But just for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to start with with big on bigs. Let me get rid of these letters here. Get them all out of here. So when we go big on big protection, it's usually something that we would do, if the center is covered. Okay, something kind of like this maybe. Okay, so what big on big protection tells you is we want our 5 offensive linemen to block all 4 defensive linemen plus 1 linebacker. Okay, so what we're doing simply is we're assigning a man. So the tackle's got the end, and they wouldn't actually go out and attack. Let me redraw that. They do what we call it kick stepping. So he would kick step, but he's got the end. He's got the tackle. So he's kick stepping, same deal. Okay. He's got this tackle or nose, which I have him drawn up there. Kick stepping. Okay. And he's got the defensive end. Same deal. All right. Now, pre-snap, either the center or the quarterback will identify which linebacker that they are responsible for, and they would call him the Mike. Okay. Now, we hear the term on defense, they call him Mike the middle linebacker. The Mike is not necessarily the guy that's playing middle linebacker. Okay. But he'll be usually the guy that's covering the center is the easy way to think about it. So I'll just leave it at that. Okay. So that means the center is going to check this guy. Okay. If he comes to either A gap, the center is going to pick him up. If he drops into coverage, now your center comes what we call the eraser. Okay. Where he can help either guard in protection. Okay. Depending on what goes on. Some people will tell him, okay, maybe this guy's really good. Maybe we want to check the mic and then help here. Maybe this guy's a dude. Maybe we just want to let the center scan it 1, 2, 3. Okay. This is something that's actually pretty decent if you got a big mismatch with your defensive tackles on a guard. Maybe your guard really sucks, or maybe your opponent's got a great nose tackle or something. That's a 2 technique that's really good. So maybe that's a way you get some help there. Your trade-off is you're leaving your tackles on islands. Okay. Now we still have 2 guys that potentially could come. Really 3, 1, 2, 3, anybody could, right? So we put our back on what we call a scan. Okay. So he is going to check here. If he sees this guy coming anywhere, it doesn't matter, the back is going to take him. Okay. If that happens, that means the quarterback is now responsible for anybody else that comes. Okay. So, for example, if this weak safety here blitzes, the quarterback has to throw hot. Strong safety blitzes, quarterback's got to throw hot. So we have to have something to allow the quarterback to get himself out of jail. Because if he comes, that's one more than we can block. But let's say this Will here, let's say he drops into coverage. Actually, let me undo here. Let's say he drops into coverage, and instead, this weak safety over here decides to come. Now, our back scanning, he's not coming. Oh, but he is. Okay. So he's going to be responsible for him. Okay. If neither one of them comes, now your back has 2 options depending on what you teach. Maybe he can help here. He can find an offensive lineman that needs help. Maybe that's what you want to do. But I think most people nowadays would be check, nobody's coming. Let's get him out in a pass concept and see if we can't, give the quarterback one more option to throw the ball. Okay. So that's your basic big on big, pass cover or pass protection. All right. Now, the other one is way more rare. Okay. And that's your full slide protection. Really, you only see it nowadays in play action pass stuff. Actually, let me see if I can find you a clip of big on big. I know I had one here. I'll show you one later because that comes up. I got some relevant stuff with that later. Okay, as far as blitzing. All right, so your side protections, basically we're going to give every lineman a gap. Okay, so let me get back to my little There we go. Move him back out. Here we go. All right. So in a full slide, we're giving every lineman a gap that he is responsible for. So remember, we said we had A, B, C, D gaps, so on and so forth. Okay. So basically, what we're telling these linemen is you're responsible for whatever shows up in your gap, and they're literally going to kind of slide and gain ground as they go. Okay. Oh, come on. I really hate huddle, for the record, guys. I think every video I do, I complain about huddle. It's so difficult to use, but it's what they pay for, so that's what I'm stuck with. Dang it. All right, so I'm trying to talk and do this at the same time. So everybody is sliding, okay, to a gap, and that includes your backside tackle. So we'll be sliding right here, okay? So that means the good thing about this is we have C gap, B gap, A gap, A gap, and B gap covered with linemen. So we got 5 gaps. Now, only problem is we got to account for this defensive end. So that means the back, okay, or even a tight end, whatever you got, has got to take this last C gap. All right. Now, this is a very difficult protection to run. So again, you really only see it in it's simple, really easy to teach, but it's hard to execute. You only see it in play action, or sometimes you see it in quick game where the quarterback he can catch and throw. Okay, that's really the only time. It's really very good. It does help you, for example, if you get pressure off of this edge, to the slide, it really does help you pick stuff like that up. But the weakness is we've got a horrible matchup here with the defensive end on the tailback. If your defensive end can't win this matchup here and can't win it consistently, I mean, he really should consider quitting football and taking up ballet or something like that, because he's just probably not tough enough for this game. Or maybe you should quit coaching and I don't know, become a music teacher. That's all I can figure, because defensive ends don't beat backs in pass pro, or they shouldn't lose to backs in pass pro. All right, so now both have their advantages and both have their strengths. The most common answer for modern day spread teams is what we call a combination protection or combo protection, where we will combine big on big protections with some sliding in there as well. It's usually more sliding and we'll big on big away. Okay, so let me undo some of this. I don't really want to delete all of my lines here because that's a pain. Okay, so in this situation, let's say we got a combo coverage and we called it to the right. Okay, the center will start the slide, and the way I do it is I let the center determine how many people actually need to slide. Sometimes in this case, we would just slide 3. Okay, so for sliding to a nose guard, okay, or a one technique as such, we'd slide the center. He's the last person on the slide. So he would slide to A, the guard would slide to B, and the tackle would slide to C. Okay. Backside, the other side of the center. Hang tight.
Interruption, everybody, but teachers, if you're not done so already, just check your email about the access testers for this afternoon.
Oh, great, testing.
So if you have not done so already, please check that list to make sure that the students that you have are being sent down to testing. Again, check your email or the handout you received about access testing. And those students.
It's like these people think I'm here to do school.
Okay, thank you.
All right, sorry about that. Backside, we're going to go big on big. Okay. So he's kick stepping. He's responsible for the tackle. The 3 technique here. He's kick stepping. He's responsible for the end. Okay. So we got kind of the best of both worlds here. Now, we have choices of what we can do with the back. Okay. We can have the back inside out it. Okay. Or we can just go ahead and say, screw it, we're going to gamble, and we're just going to have a 5-man protection, and if anybody blitzes, the quarterback's responsibility to get it out hot. Guys, that's very similar to the scan read we were talking about earlier. I usually prefer just to get him out. And if you look at, some recent national champions, particularly LSU of a couple of years ago, I mean, they lived and died in 5-man protection. Okay, so that's not something that's unheard of. Backs tend to not be very good in protection anyway. They don't like to do it. And oftentimes, if you're asking a back to pick up a linebacker with a full head of steam, it's not a great matchup for them. So why not just get them in the pass game? Okay, so we could inside out it where we read inside threats and pick up the first one that comes. Okay, and work slowly outside to release, or you could just tell them to go. And I'd rather just tell them to go. Okay, so now these are the 3 ways that spread teams can handle, can handle pass protection. All of them have their own strengths and weaknesses. Now, with combo protections, and these are the most common, like 80% of the time you're going to see these, the big issues that you have are overload blitzes. Okay, so if defenses can figure out which side's your man side, they'll overload it. Okay, so what I mean is we've got him and him. These 2 offensive linemen are accounted for. Okay, what if we send the Mike and the weak safety? Even if we got the back, we're going to get a free rusher. Okay, so that's a big weakness there. With big on big protections, you're going to struggle with stunts and twists. So I'll show you some examples of that here in a second. With slide protections, you're going to get a bad matchup with the back on probably a defensive end, and it's just really hard to execute. So, nothing's perfect. So the first thing you got to do if you want to be really good at sending pressure is figuring out what protections offenses like in certain situations. And then if you can figure that out, sometimes you can manipulate them into running a protection that you want them to run. Okay. And the best way to do that is if you know you're going to get an offense in a 3rd and long. Okay. Why not see if you can't force them into big on big situations? And one way, remember, if you cover up the center, okay, they're kind of in a bad sort of way. Okay, because now you can pretty much, it's impossible for them to slide, okay, because people are going to be, you can't cover everybody. You're going to be essentially sliding that. Somebody's going to slide the air, okay? Sliding's out of the question. So you're really only your only option is big on big. And this is where twists and stunts come in, okay? Because if we're going to assign every offensive lineman essentially a man, okay, if we start twisting, that's going to confuse up who's got who really fast. And it's something that's very easy for defensive linemen to learn, okay? And it's incredibly difficult for offensive linemen to get used to picking up. All right, so I'll show you a stunt here. Okay, we name our stunts and twists, okay, or games. We call them games as well. We name them based over who's going first. Okay, so if we're sending the tackle first, okay, we would call it a nap. So let's say the tackle's going and then the nose is wrapping around. Okay, we call it a nap because it would be nose after tackle. Okay. If the nose is going first and the tackle is coming around, we call it a tan for tackle after nose. Makes sense? So on every stunt, you got 2 things. You have a crasher and a looper. Okay? And remember, we know who's got who. So let's say we're running a gnat. Okay? We are actually going to tell our defensive tackle to go hit the center as hard as he freaking can in the rib cage. Okay? So the nose will engage, let the tackle come knock the piss out of this guy, and then the nose is going to loop around. Dadgummit. Okay? It's that simple. So what we're hoping to get, one, is a clean rib shot on this center. Okay? And then if the guard kind of steps around with his guy, the nose gets pinned, we should be able to get a free rusher with this nose tackle. That makes sense. And there, you have an unlimited amount of ways you can do that. So what we teach offensive linemen, okay, and I'll find a drill of it here in a second, but the rule is DFYB. Okay. The D stands for don't, the Y stands for your, and the B stands for buddy. I'll let you figure out what the S stands for. Now, here's a really bad example of a stunt where, okay, look at these two cats right here. He's really going to F his buddy. Watch him teeter-totter here. Boop! Okay, and we get a free rusher. All right, I'll show it one more time. Watch him get down. He gets a clean shot. Okay. The tackle, he does nothing. Okay. So the tackle should be protecting his buddy here. So if he's going to fire in, the tackle should pick him up. Okay. Alert him, pass him off, and then scooch back out to catch the looper. All right. And these NFL guys, they rep the heck out of it. Let me see if I can find a drill. There's all kind of stuff out there. I found a good one yesterday at Vanderbilt. You type in picking up stunts and you get movie stuff. I mean, football's way more important than movies. Here we go. OL twist pickup. So kind of watch how they.
Okay, this next drill is our twist pickup drill.
I don't need your voiceover. Here we go. All right. So he's working. Here's the crasher. He's working to pass him off. I'm assuming this is a center and a guard. He's going to pass him off. Come on. There we go. These guys like to hit rewind too much sometimes. There we go. You get the gist. There it is. That last one's pretty good, right? That is really, really, really hard to teach, and you have to spend a lot of time on it. So sometimes as a defense coordinator, if you can basically force people to get in big on big protections, you got a winner. Twist and stun them. Chances are your guys are going to be better at it than theirs. Now, the problem with twists and stunts, they can be exposed in the run game. So you kind of almost want to save them for, long distance, obvious passing situations as much as you can. In fact, Trevor Lawrence's long touchdown run against Ohio State a couple years ago, that was a case where he ran right into a twist, and it kind of opened the Red Sea for him, and the rest is history. Okay. I'll show you all a couple of clips of some pass pro stuff, and that'll be, let's see here. How many trick plays? All right. Here's a good example of picking up a twist. There we go. Trade them off. Nobody gets effed. I'll pick it up. Okay. That's good right there. All right. Here's Clemson, and this is a combo protection. So this is 4-man slide. So the example I showed you earlier was 3-man slide, and that's when we would be sliding to a nose guard or one technique. But in this case, Clemson is going to slide to the left. Okay, to a 3 technique tackle right here where my clicker is. Okay, so if they only slide 3, it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're probably not in great shape. So I think they're going to
cover 3 if it's zone, but right here.
So Clemson chooses a 4-man slide. And tackle tries to cut here, which I guess probably Chase Young right there. So, I mean, I kind of can understand that. why you would cut him. I think that's Chase Young. I can't tell. I'm getting old. I can't see worth a squat. Okay, notice it's a, let's see, 4-man rush. It looks like. Yep, Lawrence just finds a hole. All right, and all right. Here's another slide protect or a half man, half slide protection, and this is Tom Brady here. So they're actually in a 5-man protection on this one, and I'll unmute this so you can hear. Okay, when you're in a 5-man protection, remember the risk of combos is the defense figuring out essentially which side is your man side, and if they can overload that side, you got trouble. So, seeing as we don't have a back in protection, this is an empty formation. It doesn't matter to the quarterback which way the slide is. Okay, the back doesn't need to know. There is no back. So in this case, Brady can just use deductive reasoning and figure out which side they're trying to overload, and he can slide the protection that way, and he'll actually change it here. So let me hear. You can hear me all Rita. Those Rita would be slide right, and Linda would be slide left.
Right now, you feel like, hey, it's Tom Brady. We're okay. But this is good. This is hard. Jacksonville just doesn't.
So here you go. Got 3-man slide here. So big on big, big on big. Center starts to slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm imagining that originally they probably had the slide to the left, and they were big on big here. Okay. One more time.
Now you feel like, hey, it's Tom Brady. We're okay. But this is good. This is hard. Jacksonville just doesn't give up a ton of drives. 2nd and 8.
And looks like we got a little twist on here too.
But this is good. This is hard. Jacksonville just doesn't give up a ton of drives.
Pick it up.
2nd and 8.
All right. So here's why Tom Brady is able to determine that we need to make the slide side to the right. You need to make a Rita call. Okay. So we look at our receivers here. This corner is eaten up by him. He's got a covering. Okay. This receiver is eating up this guy here. Okay. So if either one of these guys blitz, there's nobody to cover receiver. And nobody in their right mind is going to do that. Okay. Now, what could tell you that maybe he's going to come? Let's say this safety was over here and he was in position to pick up this dude. Well, then maybe that frees up him to blitz. But just based on formation alone, on defensive alignment alone, Tom Brady can basically exclude these two guys as rushers, which means the only two guys left on this side of the center that can come are these two down defensive linemen. Okay. So we can very simply man those guys up. Now we go to the other side. Okay. Obviously, these two guys can come, but we've got 1, 2, 3 eligible receivers. Okay. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 potential rushers. Okay. So that says one more is going to come from somewhere or could come from somewhere. Okay. Maybe it's him. He's probably most likely, right? Because we're in position here where we could pick up this receiver with his backer, or maybe the safety can pick him up. We could take him with here. We could take him with here. So they've got options. So we probably want to slide to the right here. And it's just deductive reasoning. So that's why Brady changes the protection.
Jacksonville just doesn't give up a ton of drives. 2nd and 8, and they're finding receiver.
All right. I think I have one more good clip. I already got that one. I honestly don't even have any full slide video just because it's so rare. It's pretty much only a play action thing. I'm sure if I watched a lot of video, I could find some examples because people do still do it. But that's like finding a needle in a haystack. So just to be respectful of my time, I'm not going to do that. So next time we'll talk about blitzes. So look at the protections a little bit and how they work.